Hello everyone, this is Jason as Dr. Gaming Plays. I realize it has been quite some time since I put up a video as other obligations have taken up most of my time. However, I wanted to do a quick Halloween special as many of the content creators that I follow have also done the same. So no, there won't be anything about JRPGs in this video as I really couldn't think of one that fits the season. So I'm going to talk about 3 horror games that had an influence on me back when I played them. Anyways, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to know when new videos go up, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Anyways, let's get on to the game in the number 3 spot, Until Dawn for the Sony PlayStation 4. Until Dawn was originally released for the PlayStation 4 back in 2015 and is an interactive drama told primarily through cutscenes in a third-person action exploration mode. It tells the story of 8 people who gather at a lodge on Blackwood Mountain 1 year after a tragic event where the sisters of one of the main characters, Josh, lost their lives. During this game, you'll control one of the 8 characters, where the choices that are being made will influence the events of the game and the ending. Some of these choices can be rather simple to others that are major and it can influence the fate of another character or unlock other events. The goal is to have everyone survive, but when a death happens, they are permanent and you have to live with the consequences of the choices, as you cannot go back to a previous save and redo things if you don't like the outcome. Apparently there are over 100 different endings, and no, I have not seen them all, nor have I gone through the critical choices to try to get the best ending. However, that's one of the things I really like about this game is its high replay value. After seeing a few different endings, I decided to put the game away for a while, as I'd like to get back to it. The music in the game is great and really sets the mood, and while this game came out in 2015, the graphics largely hold up. With a great story and a strong cast of characters, I highly recommend that you check this game out. Rami Malek, who plays Josh, has his credits that include the TV series Mr. Robot, one I highly recommend, and as Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. Hayden Panettiere also lends her talents as Sam. I also want to include this game since it is inexpensive like the other 2 games on this list, typically going for around $10 complete in box. You will definitely get more than $10 worth of entertainment out of this game. I had a hard time picking the order for the next 2 games, and it is really close to being a tie, even though they are 2 very different games. Number 2 on this list is Silent Hill 2, with the PlayStation 2 version being featured in this video. In this game, you play as James Sunderland, who receives a letter from his dead wife Mary to return to Silent Hill. I don't know how much I can add to others who have already discussed this classic game in detail, but on a personal level, this is one of the few games that I've played that really creeped me out. The fog effects alone have a feeling of claustrophobia, with some of the background noises that occur even early in the game have you asking, what was that? The purposeful use of the grainy filter adds to a sense of suspense and mystery. If you haven't played this game before, you are not battling hordes of weird undead creatures, as the horror in this game is largely psychological. However, the creatures that do appear are quite striking, with Pyramid Head being an icon, a favorite choice of cosplayers at various conventions. This game also includes puzzles to solve. Now, I'm not great at those, and in my playthrough I set them to easy. I think having 2 difficulty levels for gameplay and the puzzles was a nice touch though. What makes this game popular is it touches on some pretty heavy themes, including grief, guilt, and mental illness, and how might those things affect people. The game has multiple endings, and while I do remember going back to play to see some of those, I played this game in a different era of my life, so returning to it now would be like a new experience. Now, if you're seeking a copy of this game, it would be expensive for a complete in-box copy. For the PS2 version, it sells for around $120. The Greatest Hits version is a little cheaper and has an extra chapter. The Xbox version is not as expensive, and sometimes you can find that for around $50. There was also an HD remake for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 of this game, and Silent Hill 3. From what I have understood, both games are a buggy mess, so I have not sought that copy out. So is this game worth that much? If you're a fan of the Silent Hill games, this is one of the best, and sets the bar for survival horror games in general. Again, I don't get easily freaked out, but this one really put me on edge. If you happen to have a working original Xbox, that is the least expensive option. Otherwise, go for the PS2 Greatest Hits version. But there is one more factor in that decision, and this game is getting a proper remake for the current consoles. So before I play this game again, I'm holding off to see how that one turns out. So on to spot number 1, and that's Haunted House for the Atari 2600. This game had me wild with nostalgia, urging me to use my imagination as I wandered around from floor to floor as a pair of eyes, eagerly seeking out parts of an urn that will allow me to escape from this maze. Hey, just kidding. While I had fun with Haunted House back in the day, my real number 1 is Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Rec Room for the Nintendo GameCube. This game was one of the reasons why I picked up a Nintendo GameCube back in the day after hearing about the gameplay with 12 different playable characters scattered throughout various periods of time. It may not be a scary game per se, but hey, one of the main characters does become a zombie-like person after being possessed, and is now bent on world domination. As an action game, you have a health bar. Combat is fairly straightforward with a simple targeting system. Each character also has a certain level of magic which can be used in combat, for healing, and for solving puzzles. There are 4 levels of magic with the rune system, and by experimenting with them, you discover new spells, and this game encourages a level of experimentation. What is unique about this game is something called a sanity meter. When you are spotted by an enemy, it begins to drop, and as it drops, really weird things start happening in the environment, often breaking the 4th wall of the game. It's pretty clever, and while I wish I had a game save that could show you this to you, I also think it's best that you experience it for yourselves at first, as this aspect is really a unique feature of the game. Considering that there are 12 characters involved in different time periods, the game narrative holds up pretty well. Choices that are made early in the game do affect the narrative later on, so this game has a really high replay value. I remember going back through multiple game replays and I really got my money's worth out of this game. Like Silent Hill 2, it's been a long time since I had played, and a lot of the game would be fresh to me. While there have been talks of a sequel, nothing has ever come of that, and Silicon Knights, the creators of this game, are sadly no more. If you want to find a copy of this game today, it will set you back a bit. A complete in-box copy goes for around $85 to $100 depending on the condition. Plenty has been written about this game, so if you want to check that out to see if it is worth to you, go right ahead. As I go through some of the initial stages of Eternal Darkness, that is all I have for you. Stay well, everyone, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye for now.
It's a shame we couldn't meet under...
Yes, it is. Can we get this over with, please?
Of course. This way. But I must warn you, it's not a pleasant sight. I'm afraid there's not much to see. Miss Roivas, is that your grandfather, Edward?
Yes, it's him.